Hi everyone! Thank you so much for joining our webinar on how game testing increases users' engagement, secrets from QA program manager. My name is Olga and I'm business development manager. I have been working with game companies for over a year now. And today our speaker is game QA engineer with more than 5 years of experience, Ivan Kovalchuk. He is also a program manager and passionate gamer who can say a lot about what will work and what will not throughout the game testing, how things are going inside the QA teams, and finally, what does it take to create a top-level game.
Hi everyone, I'm excited to be here with you, and I hope it's a great chance to share some useful things for all of you, and it could be a great possibility to improve the work of many.
All right, you're right, Ivan. You're absolutely right. Today, all of you will discover lots of useful stuff. But first, let's check our internet connection. Please leave pluses in commentaries if everything is okay.
We still don't have any pluses. Please be more active, guys.
We want to make sure that everyone could hear us clear, everyone could see us clear.
I can see that some guys are really enjoying us just right now. Oh, I can see the first pluses. It's great.
All right. So I think we're ready to start. Well, you know, when you're a part of QA team, you are starting to check everything and test everything. So apologies for the delay. All right. Please write any questions you might have in section questions, and we will answer all of them at the end of our webinar. And the recording of our webinar will be sent to all the registrants and attendees within the next couple of days. If you're here, you will be able to discover so much useful information about the game testing. Hopefully, it would help to level up your game production. This webinar will be especially useful for product owners, QA engineers, and just curious minds who that want to know all the secrets behind successful game testing. Are you ready? If so, let's dive into the game testing. And now I'm giving the floor to Ivan.
Okay, guys, so we have some kind of agenda here, and thanks a lot for Olga for such a warm and great words. Now we can start our game testing adventure. Well, I must admit, game testing is a very special field, and because the prime thing, it's not just testing, but a certain feeling, some passion, some love, some enjoyment, all this sort of feelings. It's a main key for turn good games into the great ones. So here is the thing, and today we will emphasize the first part of this formula, namely things that define proper game testing. So yes, that's the foundation for our game success in testing. That's why today we are here, and this webinar we are going to review in-depth best practices of game testing that have all chances to increase your engagement. More precisely, we will cover such points as what security testing in games and what are critical check of it. The second thing will be what are the critical points of in-app purchases testing in games. The third one will be when game testing is done right, and we will find out how to find holes effectively and succeed. Finally, I will suggest some things that can potentially help in delivering the very best product to your audience.
That does sound pretty good. This webinar promises to be really insightful for everyone working with games. But Ivan, let me ask, don't you fear revealing so many secrets today?
Well, yes, some information will be really valuable, and of course, I have been gathering all this stuff, things, all this experience during over 5 years. I was firstly as game tester and now as a program manager. But with no shadow of doubt, it's a great thing to share some of them. After all, it makes the world of game maybe better, and for me, it's the ultimate goal. So yeah, something like that.
Your goal is quite respected. Sneaky, but respected. All right, let's start revealing all these points then. The first thing you had mentioned was the security testing. Why is it important, and what can you say about it overall?
Yeah, actually, it matters a lot. Living in today's data-driven world, security issues like data privacy are paramount things absolutely for all products. So not only for games, by the way. If you are offering totally secure project with a high data protection features, the number of your users will be huge, and it can really increase exponentially. Without mentioning that fact, how much money you can save having security on the higher level.
Well, that sounds pretty promising. But how do you ensure the highest security during testing game products? What is the secret for achieving this?
First of all, the simple fact is that at least all critical system directories and files should be encrypted. Moreover, they need to be hidden or unavailable at all. So let's go through one vivid example of what I'm talking about. Uh, as example, we got mobile devices, as you can see on the slide, and every app or game saves some part of data, including critical data on your device's local storage. So any user can find them by simple file explorer tools, and if some files with special IDs or hashes or other valuable info will be accessible for the end user, it might cause serious leaks, problems, issues for developers as well as the product owners.
This is really a big problem. So, Ivan, how is it possible to solve such security issues?
Fortunately, there are a few solutions. Actually, the first and the simplest one is when we are checking local directories on a physical device by simple file explorer, as described on this slide. We can open some standard things on the file or on the directory and check whether everything fine there. I mean, whether everything secured and we don't have an access for editing. In some edge cases, when we have hidden folders or hidden files, we are using some special hardware, software tools, and sometimes it also helps to find such critical holes.
Hmm. All right, that's pretty interesting. And it's all clear now. What is next critical point in security?
It's related to the previous topic, but in this case, we are talking not just about opening or observing files, but more precisely about editing plus saving options for local game saves. For instance, we had a few interesting cases with abusing coins, gems, and other internal currency, maybe some skins. Specific files in the local game saves. In edge cases, even some of users had possibilities to gain experience, levels, and even ranks. So,
So, yep. All right, so this is something like game hacking, isn't it? Did I get it correctly?
yep, in some meaning, it's very relative to that.
All right, but is there a solution to this?
Sure, it is to escape such possibilities of abusing coins, gems, and other hackers things like manipulations. Good QA team should analyze the perfectly savings model and local storage options by Android SDK, iFanbox, iTunes, iTools, or other specific software. Scanning and thoroughly checking all available local folders by external tools would be also quite useful. Also, we need to check the sharing savings on high-level accounts. I mean, accounts with lots of coins, high experience, dozens resources, and one of the highest rank. Then we can share such resources into another device with beginner accounts, and such savings might be accessible even for beginners. In this case, the final goal of is as follows. Users shouldn't have access to gaining gems or other resources by simply changing files.
All right, I'll be honest with you. Knowing that the game is operating with the same rules to absolutely everyone, that every player is equal, is a great motivation to play such game, you know?
I totally agree with you, actually, but of course, apart from this, there are other security issues as well. For example, case number 3. It's a common practice in modern games to have some events, maybe special events, special offers, sales, which are related to the time spent in game. I mean, some kind of daily, weekly, monthly rewards or special prices just for some specific period of time. So sometimes user can cheat it with rewards by simply changing the time on the devices. You can imagine then you change the date on your device and you receive more coins, and you can use that coins for receiving new resources. And in such way, you will have some extra possibilities and some unexpected advantage for your competitors in the game. Such vulnerability might give unfair advantage for users, and also it could decrease the level of incomes for games, and of course for product owners.
All right, so this is another form of hacking behaviors. Did I get it right?
Yeah, exactly. And the QA team's responsibility is to check all of such nuances.
All right, but how?
Actually, such issues can be detected by testing games on different platforms for all time zones with different settings, automatic, manual time settings, maybe some specific countries with zero meridian, and etc. Another approach is to change server time by using special a bit expensive hardware and software tools, but it's completely another story. Finally, we need to ensure that changing the time date editing setting for receiving rewards and special offers events will not work. And gaming experience will be clear and fair for all users.
So such small things could cause such big problems. I guess better check than sorry, you know? So, all right, what is the next issue of security testing you want to highlight today?
Well, security testing is certainly needed to be checked, and another important case is external access to the user's personal data. What does it mean? There is no need to explain, but the issue is not just about direct defense. It's rather about using social network accounts for sign up in game and getting access to them by game's API. Such kind of vulnerability is not so popular by hackers, but sometimes it occurs. For detecting such holes, would be good to create a pool of different social network test accounts from different countries. We can use VPNs, proxy servers for such purpose. And also, we need to try to get some access to critical data. For more detailed API checking, I'd recommend using tools with get post access features, for example, Swagger, Postman, etc. They might really help to check the most popular vulnerabilities in a very short period of time.
I've never had thought about such aspects, to be honest with you. Thank you, Juan, for sharing this information. So, what's the next security issue needed to be checked?
The last but not the least issue on security is the client-server transactions. I mean requests that shouldn't be editable by the user.
So, what does it mean? How do you check it?
What does it mean? When for abusing of in-game currency, cheating levels, receiving new skins, changing purchased items, quantity, and much more critical things occur on plenty of games. So some of such issues are deeply hidden, and it's quite hard to find the whole, but the great majority could be fully detected and analyzed. Ignoring such kinds of vulnerabilities might cause extremely low ARPU for product owners, and also it might even cost real users outflow. We can use such popular traffic logging tools as Fiddler, Charles, and others. In this meaning, they could catch, monitor some traffic or logs between devices and the server or internet. This includes requests, responses, also can contain some cookies and cache info. Moreover, we need to test behavior after editing such requests for abusing resources or reaching cheating levels.
Thank you so much for sharing your secrets and personal observations. So now we're all aware that security matters a lot, so this should be a motto for any product, I guess. So I think we can move further to another part of game testing that could potentially increase users' engagement. It is in-app purchases testing. So Ivan, please tell us more about these issues.
Yep. Another thing it's about in-app purchases. In-app purchases testing is the second paramount thing in game testing that I want to share you, and user very often affects engagement and success of the game to the greatest extent.
Nice. So in-app purchases testing is critical for any product to grow and to be able to generate revenue. Am I right?
Definitely yes. The vast majority is simply neglecting this aspect. But let me tell you what problems you may face. And the first case, here we go. It's as follows: items in the game store are not available and cannot be purchased. This is one of the rarest issues, but it could occurs on lots of devices at the same time, and it might prevent or give some specific approach for testers how to solve this problem. Sometimes gamers meet unexpected system errors while purchasing or just can't buy needed items because of expired card data, etc. Often users, after a few successful purchases, receive a ban for further payments. In some cases, gamers even can't use gift cards from their friends or redeem special offer or codes. All these issues need to be detected and adjusted for the successful development of any game. To properly solve this issue for the QA team is mandatory to conduct manual tapping, clicking all available items in stores, and also checking other all other areas into game that required places for the store. We prefer not just test purchases by sandbox features. We'd rather do such things for the real money for priority countries according to the customer needs. But this is not a single case. Here we go, the second one. Currency in games stores should match the currency in the device's account. I mean App Store, I mean Google Play Market, Microsoft Store, etc. To ensure this, we conduct thoroughly checking all items in Game Store by using accounts of required countries according to the developer's needs. By the way, most accounts need to be created via VPN services for covering all needed territories. Moreover, at the same time, the number of purchased items in inventory must be the same as they were described in the game store. Finally, every item in the game store needs to appear with proper currency according to the user's country of origin.
So quite interesting insight. Thank you. What's next need to be checked?
The next case, it will be the third one for purchases. Only specified amount of cost price needs to be spent after proceeding the payment. Otherwise, it might cost reputation and thousands of lawsuits from disappointed gamers. In this case, we use different combinations of store items versus quantities and make purchases with sandbox features, gift cards, as well as purchases for the real money. As usual, we check all popular combinations or required items offers according to the needs of developer. The last thing is funds shouldn't be withdrawn from the account when purchasing process wasn't finished or was finished unsuccessfully. It means that we need to check that without user will be without gaining any item from the game store. Items shouldn't be added into inventory after unfinished, unsuccessful purchase. And the next case will be about funds as well. And will be about not just funds, also they will be about some accidents they might occur while purchasing. Such issues are quite a rare incident, but they really can occur, especially while using 3G or 4G internet with bad connections or with interruptions. Also, using VPN proxy services might cause such types of problems. And there is a small possibility of such issues because of restriction settings on the user's credit debit card, but it could be.
So what's the best solution for this, if there is any?
Yes, there is a solution, not just one, but one of them. For instance, we can use a detailed interruptions checklist in this case, as well as VPN check-ins, or even mix them to more stressful testing. Also, it would be good to check different types of credit debit cards with edge payment restrictions and different balances on debit credit cards. Everything depends on the requirement and priorities of developers.
Thank you so much for revealing all of the secrets. It was really interesting and insightful, and I guess it was quite comprehensive takeaway on in-depth testing issues. So you guys, what do you guys think about all the tips? Share your opinion in the comments below. I wanted to remind you that we have chat box in here. All right. So Ivan, while people are doing that, hopefully we will get some commentaries. Let's summarize all of the things that have been mentioned today. Ultimately, when are you confident that the gate testing is done completely right?
Actually, regarding our today's info, we know now that there are two greatest things you need to keep in mind while testing games. First of all, is security testing. As a second, it's in-app purchases testing. If more specifically, security testing should be conducted according to the following cases, as you can see on your screens. On your screens, all critical system local directories and files should be encrypted. Users shouldn't have access to gaining gems or other resources by changing files. Changing time date settings for receiving rewards or special offer events shouldn't be for any end user. Also, users' personal data on a device need to be defended from external users, even when they use some special API for signing up with Facebook, Google, or other services. And the last one is that all client-server transaction requests shouldn't be editable by the user. Okay, the second part, it's about summarizing our in-app purchasing testing. So we should get top of our heads that all items in the game store need to be available and can be purchased. Every item in the game store needs to appear with proper currency according to the user's country of origin. Also, spent cost for purchased items should be absolutely match the price in the game store. And the last thing is about the funds. They shouldn't be withdrawn from the account when purchasing process wasn't finished or was finished but unsuccessfully.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give another chance to our listeners. Maybe they have more questions to you. Let me check our chat in the meanwhile. All right, let me scroll through some. Nope, apologies for the delay. Gonna make sure that we're not gonna miss any. All right, so how skilled needs to be QA for doing such check-ins?
At least they needs to be middle plus, I suppose, even senior testers with 2 years plus experience, because it's very time specific, skill specific checkings, and junior testers or beginners, I'm not sure that they can handle it. So they need to be at least middle plus testers.
Gotcha. All right, let me see if I can find a couple more. Couple more seconds. All right, how much time do you spend preparing and executing such kinds of tests?
Hard question, actually. Depends on situation. But in general, after resolving all requirements from our customer, it spends at about few days for preparing estimation, documentation, and all that things, and from few days to 2 weeks for executing testing. It depends on scales of the project. Some maybe time zones, countries need to be tested, etc.
All right. Thank you for hard question. We appreciate hard question. All right. So I see one more. Would be nice to know something about game testing, not about security issues.
It would be great to hear some details. What about game testing? Could you clarify your question? It's hard to give you the answer. We can also to discuss some compliance testing, some compatibility testing, some performance testing, lost connection testing. There are a lot of interesting things in game testing which we can describe here now. So if you can, please give more info. What exactly do you want to hear from me?
And please feel free to leave your email address. So in case if we will not be able to cover it during the webinar, we will be happy to email you after that. All right. Another one. What game companies are you working now and have been working with, guys? All right, that's a tricky one.
Yes, it's a tricky one because we have an NDA agreement with most of them. I can say in general that we've been working for triple A projects as well as indie projects. What genres we had? RPG, we had shooters. We had strategies, we had idle games, we have, of course, match 3 games. What else? Almost hidden objects genres, almost all specific and all popular genres we have been testing. So
Yeah. Overall, what I can definitely say from my part, we have completed over 500 game testing projects overall. We, for the company in general, we have completed over 3,000 projects, but specifically 500 game testing projects. But again, NDA, we would love to brag about some names, but we cannot. All right. Hopefully we cover that one. Let me see if I can find another one. What devices have a higher risk of being hacked and what is safer?
interesting question, actually. I can say that some devices are pretty safe, but the other ones are pretty have some risk of being hacked. It's not depends on platform or some device. I'd rather say that the newest ones with newest type of operating system and with the newest features are more defended because they receive some patches and tweaks, some updates which can resolve all tweaks and holes. So please try to keep their as you can to keep the updated as you can, and it will be some kind of tip for you how to save your device.
All right, thank you for that. And I see some addition to the first question. As for the game testing, I mean there are testing of particular games with some genres and so on. What is your approach? What are the differences?
The difference between what between genres, yes, of course we need to use some different approach for testing, for example, RPG games and for example match 3 games and shooters, because for example shooters, as you know, they have a matchmaking feature when 3 guys could fight with other 3 guys, as well as they could fight with bots. And in this case, we need to use 5 or maybe 10 devices at the same time for checking such matchmaking things. For classic RPG, you can use only one device and do every checks for such device. So yes, there are lots of specific things.
All right. All right, I have a couple more. What exactly interruptions do you practice during in-app purchases?
We have some big checklist with, I suppose, all interruptions they might occur on devices, mobile devices, and on PC. The most popular from them it's low battery signal, notifications, income calls. What else? Sleep mode, minimizing, maximizing, drop internet signal, some kind of typing, receiving messaging, etc. There are a lot of them, so I'm not sure that I can tell you everything just here right now, but believe me, there are at about 100 check-ins for such kind of interruptions.
The low battery one definitely hurts my heart.
Yeah.
All right. So, couple more. What type of connections do you usually check?
As usual, we prefer testing on mobile internet and on Wi-Fi or stable internet connect. On mobile internet, we practice checking 2G edge connections, 3G, 4G. Also, we can define some specific range of connection, for example, from 100 kilobits to 500 kilobits. And something like that we can use for Wi-Fi connection when we can create some three ranges: low connection, middle connection, and fast connection. Fast connection will be, for example, 10 megabits per second and more, middle from 1 to 10, and everything less than 1 megabit per second, it will be low connection. And also, in addition to all of these checks, we are trying to use VPN for give some stress for such testing.
All right. And while we still have time, let me ask a couple more. See how much such security testing might cost for developers or product owners.
It's very specific question. First of all, I want to say that it might cost everything, because when you have such issue like incorrect price, it might cause dozens of lawsuits, and after such lawsuits you can lose all your business. In that meaning, in the meaning of how much it will be cost for test such things, it's not the cheapest one, of course. It's a bit expensive than the common functional testing, but believe me, it's not so expensive as you can expect it, I would say.
All right, that sounds quite promising. So, and I see the last one so far. What minimum amount of funds need to be on the card for doing in-app purchases test?
At least $1. It will be enough for test one purchase, but according to my testing experience, would be good to have maybe 50, maybe 70, even $100 for checking some different sets, different bundles, etc. For after such different purchases, we can be sure that everything works correctly for the real money. It's just tips from me. Some clients prefer to use only sandbox purchases, but I recommend not to do like that, and to use sandbox as well as purchases for the real money.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be bad to have $100 on your account right now. All right. Let me see if we have any more. Nope. Seems like we are all done here for now. Let's wait a couple more seconds. Your last chance to ask any questions.
Let's wait a bit.
All right.
And while you are preparing question for us, you can see our contexts, and by this context you can find us and ask more questions. We can give you more detailed answers, etc.
All right. So far, no questions. Seems like we're ready to finish. All
Good.
right. So I think we're all done here. We didn't see any more questions. So thank you, Mon, for sharing some of your secrets today. I'm sure that's not all of your secrets. And thank you everyone who listened for and who joined our webinar.
Yes, thank you all.